So we'll go ahead and start doing that. And just because it's been a minute and we have some folks that are somewhat new to the conversation, if we could do just a pretty quick popcorn round of introductions and then dive right in. As I alluded to a minute ago, I think that this meeting will be a bit of a short one today, depending on how many updates and how lengthy your updates are. So choose your own adventure there. So to kick us off, I'm Erin Barger, project manager of Envision Athens, and this is the education work group for our 20-year plan, which has 14 domains, and education is one of them. Next, let's go to John.
Hey everybody, John Morris, project coordinator at Envision Athens.
Wesley.
Good afternoon, Wesley Molina here. I'm the Workforce Development Coordinator at the Career Academy and Work-Based Learning Coordinator as well.
And Lucy.
Hi, I'm Lucy Hudgens. I'm with the ARC United Ministry Outreach Center.
And Stephanie.
Stephanie Cockfield, and I do the financial education for the ARC.
Abhishek.
Hello, I'm Abhishek Rai, and I'm a fellow at Envision Athens.
Leslie.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Executive Director of Books for Keeps, Leslie Hale. It's nice to see everyone today.
Josh Podvin.
Howdy, y'all. My name's Josh Podvin, and I work with community partnerships out of the Office of Service Learning at UGA.
Chris Bird.
Hey, Chris Bird, Executive Director for Ministries.
Mark.
Hey y'all, I'm Mark Madison, our Director of Community Impact at United Way of Northeast Georgia.
Dr. Mallon.
Hi everyone, I'm Tony Mallon with the School of Social Work and the Director of the Institute for Nonprofit Organizations there.
Catherine.
Hey there, I'm Catherine Lakowski with the Georgia Department of Labor, and I do economic development for the 12 county region of Region 5.
Good to hear your voice, Catherine. Susan.
Hey, I'm Susan Boatwright. Please forgive me for not sharing my video. I'm having some technical issues. I know everyone says that, but I truly am today. I am a special projects consultant with WorkSource Northeast Georgia, which is the workforce development division. And I do have a brief update about externships when there's a minute to share that, Erin.
Absolutely. Yep. Good to hear from you, Susan. And you know, it's 2 o'clock. If somebody's still eating lunch and you want your camera off, that is your business. I will not question you, nor will I judge. So Jocelyn, we're just doing brief introductions.
Hey y'all, my name is Jocelyn. My pronouns are she, her. I work at Athens Area Homeless Shelter in our Bridge to Home program. So we work with families experiencing homelessness who are also achieving higher education. So they're enrolled either in Athens Tech, Goodwill Training Program, Ming, Innovative Healthcare, kind of anything that's, our goal is to increase education, which will ultimately increase employment and income, and hopefully decreasing the chances of entering into homelessness again.
Fantastic. Welcome, Jocelyn. Tim Johnson.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Tim Johnson, Executive Director of Family Connection Communities and Schools of Athens. And our work falls in 3 broad areas: site coordinators in 2 elementary schools and Bridge to Employment in Cedar Shoals, our Neighborhood Leaders Program, and then strategic planning for better outcomes for children and youth and their families in Athens. And can I just mention real quickly that I just got a notice that $10 million in federal funds to reimburse families of special needs students for extra costs during the pandemic. They just released the form for families to apply for those reimbursements for expenses.
It's great.
And I'll send that to John, who can share it with the group if that's okay.
Perfect. You read my mind. Congratulations on that. Sometimes it's a little less predictable up here. So, no.
Thank you.
Patrick. Maybe unavailable. Aaron, is that you who called in? Aaron Podvin?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
We're just doing introductions at this point. Just wanted to welcome you and allow you to introduce yourself if you're in a good spot to do that.
Sure. The phone's on the Bluetooth, so I can speak safely. I'm returning to my office, so soon I will join you all on Zoom land, but I was over at the board office. I am Erin Thompson Podvin, and I am the, oh my gosh, community engagement specialist. Haven't had all my coffee today with the Clark County School District. I work in our Office of Community Engagement and Strategic Partnerships.
Fantastic. Is there anyone I've missed? Latrina?
Hey, good afternoon, guys. It's Latrina Artist, and I am the Scholarship Program Director at the Jeanette Rankin Women's Scholarship Fund.
All right. Ricky Kirby?
Hey, y'all, I'm just listening in for Allison McCulloch. I work over in UGA's Office of Government and Community Relations.
Welcome. And Lawrence Harris?
Hey everybody, Lawrence Harris. I'm the Chief of Community Engagement Strategic Partnerships for the Clark County School District.
Welcome. All right, guys, let's go ahead and dive right in. The majority of our call today will just be reconnecting and giving us a chance to check in with each other. I know a lot has been happening since the last time we convened. So just get your updates, questions, collaborative opportunities ready, and we'll just kind of popcorn back around. And so glad to see you all today. Wesley, if we could, let's start with you, just because I know you have an update because I was there. If you could share with the group the panel that we just collaborated on recently and your thoughts on that.
Yes, thank you. So this past week we had our inaugural event for the Career Path Speaker Series. It went well. I need to start by thanking everybody that's here that helped plan it and put together. I know I see Mark and Aaron, both of you helped a lot, and David, and there were a few other people that really were involved. And it went really well. We had 4 speakers related to healthcare professions, and we invited students to hear and get like a really, you know, a very personal kind of I guess, kind of point of view on different careers in healthcare, from mental health to a firefighter EMT who stole the show. Students asked some great questions and went really well, especially considering that they came on their own time. This wasn't during school time that they showed up. So really proud of the students that showed and the questions they asked, and couldn't be more thankful for everybody's time that they gave to it. So look forward to doing future events. I think we're going to wait maybe until next school year to do the next one, since we're kind of running into the end of the school year, but I look forward to it, and we'll definitely be reaching out to the group again to help line up some great speakers. Also just wanted to throw an update out about some different summer opportunities that we're going to have at the Career Academy. This summer, we're going to do a welding camp this summer. It's for students that are either coming into the advanced manufacturing and welding pathway or are currently in that pathway. It's going to be a couple of weeks, and they're going to work with the Workforce Innovators of America to get AWS certified, which is something that, you know, helps anybody that's trying to get like an entry-level kind of welding position with our manufacturers. And we're hoping that some of these students kind of parlay that into some work-based learning opportunities, that kind of thing. We're also going to run an education camp. This is kind of, we're looking to kind of grow our own pipeline of teachers in Clark County, and we started a Teach as Profession pathway this year. And so we're looking to just kind of continue kind of gaining steam there and giving those students and kind of attracting more students into the program, and they're going to get an opportunity to work throughout the community. And I think with some of our summer school programs to just continue to hone their teaching abilities and get excited about it. And then we also recently we're working with Chestnut Community. They're gonna host a summer program here at the Career Academy as well. Some of you may be aware, but they have a pond accelerator that they've done, I think, in the community already. And they're going to continue that, and we're going to offer that to 40 students in the community, and that'll give students the opportunity to learn, robotics and coding, and that's really exciting. So we're going to be recruiting for all those programs, and hopefully, have some students in person in our building for the first time this summer.
Wesley, thank you for that update. And let me just say, you did a really wonderful job putting the panel together. And Wesley didn't mention this, but he did a really thoughtful job of surveying the students and basically planning the panel according to kind of their priorities of interest. And Wesley, I thought that the outcome of the survey was really interesting. Are you comfortable maybe sharing that, or with us sharing it after this call in our notes, perhaps?
Sure. Yeah, I'll compile it and share it out.
Yeah. And what is your what's your sense or instinct on what panels are likely to be next in the fall based upon student interest?
I would say that, like kind of if we just kind of went down like the priority list, like where we saw like the most kind of feedback from students when we did that survey, I think the next area was kind of in the AV film and kind of communications, kind of that kind of cluster. There's a lot of people that are interested in, there's a wide range in there, but it touches on whether it's like kind of journalism, it touches on, film. There are a lot of students that are interested in kind of sound engineering things, all those kinds of things as well.
Right.
So I think that's kind of the next target potentially.
Great. Thanks again, Wesley. Let's go next to Susan, since her update also relates to externships, and then we'll go to Lucy and Stephanie from the ARC. Hey, Susan.
Hey, I changed rooms, so I think I'm in good shape as regards to my router. So I'm just excited to say, and really Wesley has helped me with this so much, but we are able through funding from Georgia Power actually to host 15 externships the week of June 7th. And we believe, it looks like it's shaping up. We have not gotten a confirmation from everyone that we've offered the externship to. We had a tiered process of selection based on our priorities, and the educators who applied have until tomorrow to let me know if they are able to participate. But I believe we'll have, we have at least one person from an elementary school, a few from middle schools, a few from the Career Academy, from both high schools, and from Foothills. And so we're just very excited, and we have a handful of industry who are willing to, we're doing it in person. We had talked about doing it virtually, but we feel by June that will be a possibility, and the industry really felt strongly that they wanted it to be in person. So we're looking forward to that. I'll keep you posted.
Fantastic. All right.
I forgot to mention one thing in regards to the pond accelerator that I mentioned, that program for related to robotics and coding. So something that they're planning to do is actually they want to take the students out and do some kind of like industry tours and kind of see where robotics are actually used in the community. I'm aware of a few kind of manufacturers in town where they utilize robotics, but I was just going to throw it out there to everybody here today. I'd be really excited if anybody had ideas of other places in the community that like would be good for the students to go visit and kind of see robotics in action.
Who's on your list so far, Wesley?
Well, I know Caterpillar, they have robotics going on there, and I also am aware of another manufacturer, it's a little bit smaller, EFI. I've visited there, it's all their robotics and in action. And then I also feel that like, I haven't talked to ABB yet, but they were on my list of people to talk to. I'm pretty certain that with their field that they have robotics going on in there. That was kind of my my list right now as far as robotics. The other idea I guess I kind of had from being involved in another meeting recently was with I guess UGA, kind of maybe reaching out to UGA and seeing if like we can come and maybe visit them in their engineering lab over there or something.
Wesley, I think maybe someone to help fill that question would be David Bradley, because he connects with the manufacturers roundtable. And I bet that group could probably complete your list pretty comprehensively.
Yeah, I'm on that kind of in those meetings as well. I guess I was trying to reach out and try to see if there was any other kind of industry besides manufacturers that may, you know.
Oh, non-manufacturing.
Yeah.
I'm guessing healthcare.
Yeah. But it's a work in progress. So just, you know, if anybody thinks of anything or runs across something, I'll put my contact information in the chat.
Great. Okay, so moving on to Lucy and Stephanie from the ARC.
Yeah, thanks for giving us a moment. Again, I'm Lucy. I'm the executive director at the ARC, and just some background, the ARC is a nonprofit agency in Athens that primarily offers emergency rent and utility assistance to low-income workers who are suffering an unexpected loss of income. And we've been doing that for about 32 years in the community. And recently we started a education and lending program known as Commonwealth Athens. And seeing the success that we've had with Commonwealth Athens, Stephanie and I are interested in perhaps providing our education services to young adults. Commonwealth Athens was started in 2016 because we saw such a high need to provide comprehensive financial education to adults, but also because we saw so many families who were trapped in high interest predatory loans. So we partner with Georgia United Credit Union to refinance people out of high interest loans while also providing individual client-centered financial education. And since we started doing this, the results of the program are quite impressive. Over the last 4 years, we've held a 94% repayment rate, but what's probably most impressive to us is that we're able to increase individual credit scores by 50 points or more. And this is super important because credit scores often are the barrier between, you know, people accessing affordable housing, lowering insurance rates, things like that. So what we're starting to hear now from our neighbors that Stephanie is working with is, well, I wish that I had known this information sooner, or how can you teach this to my children who are starting to work or getting into the workforce world? So what we wanted to sort of put out there to this group, and Steph can speak towards this too, is what we do is a lot of reactive work, meaning that we're going in and we're pulling credit reports, we're repairing credit scores, we're helping people sort of reverse decisions that were made so that we're eliminating the barriers that are preventing them from reaching some of their long-term goals. What we'd really love the opportunity to do is present and do some education with younger adults so that we can just share the knowledge around the importance of credit scores, budgeting, checking accounts, savings accounts, just basic information like that. So we just wanted to reach out today to see if anyone thought that there was a need for that, or if someone was looking to have some educational services to young adults, really focused around things like credit scores, budgeting, banking, just sort of basic information. And Steph, you can add on to that as well.
Yeah, no, I think that basically is the gist. But that is something that we've been experiencing. So I've been doing the educating through the parent to the child, especially in the one-on-one sessions. So a lot of the parents will, come to me and, for the help with their credit, but then once they're learning those skills, they want to pass them on to their children. And so I've been doing that kind of in the one-on-one session through the parent. And then I do a lot of classes for the kind of 18 to 22 demographic. But wanting to try to get in, I think there's just a demographic being missed, which is that high school age or junior or senior age, or even younger, that we could maybe catch even sooner, so that they're not having to learn through their parents' mistakes, as their parents are learning, but that they can learn it before they make those mistakes.
Lucy, would you be open to reaching younger than young adults, but to maybe upper elementary?
Sure. I think Stephanie can speak to this. She's done some of those classes, but I think the great thing about the education services that we provide are really geared towards what the students want to know, or what you as an instructor identify as, critical needs. And if you do have a group of students who you think, would want to hear this information, we would absolutely be willing to come and do elementary work.
Yeah, I think you're definitely never too young to learn that information. It would be, the class would be tailored to the age group and what information they can absorb. And, we would start, obviously we wouldn't start teaching them as we would an 19-year-old, but we could definitely tailor a class to that age group, because as Lucy was saying, we do client-focused, client-centered education. So we're very used to kind of molding that education based on the demographic and age group that we are teaching. I will say that I am very interested in more of the high school age group as well, just because when we're teaching these skills and it's can be directly applicable to them. So like if they're in junior or senior and they've already started working, they started getting a paycheck of some kind, usually they don't have a bank account yet, things like that. When it's applicable, I think that the information is readily absorbed, and maybe can be put into practice, and we can have good success at that. But I mean, obviously, again, at any age, you can learn that. It's good to learn those things. So I did do for UGA, I did a class where they had a camp during the summer. And it was, I believe they were middle school aged, and that actually went really well as well. So I think we could definitely tailor it to elementary.
Lucy and Stephanie, a question that might help some folks kind of consider the goodness of fit is, based on your experience with Commonwealth, do you think that this information is most likely to ideally fit into kind of a single presentation over a 6-week period? How many sessions would be ideal for a total of how many hours?
Right. Well, I think so. Right now, the way that it's structured is it's usually done in like a 2 to 3 part session over 2 to 3 different times. So I may do a class one week, and that's kind of part one, and they're each about an hour long. And then the next week I may do part 2. And then sometimes if there's lingering questions or different topics that they want covered, I may come back and do a part 3. So that's kind of been how it's been structured so far. But we could revisit that if we, wanted to do something a little shorter time frame for younger kids, an hour maybe, we could look into changing that up as well. But that's how it's been structured so far. Usually it's done 2 to 3 weeks, and those weeks can be as spaced out as they need to be, but not too far apart, and it's about an hour long each time.
That's great, thank you. So from the chat box, it looks like Patrick is definitely interested in applying that to 3rd to 5th graders at Downtown Academy, and then Wesley to high school students at the Career Academy. And then I think another great opportunity might be the YMCA. since they have both after school programming. They added a STEAM program, so they've incorporated a little bit more academics compared to their historic programming. And then Camp Kelly in the summer is, you know, a really intense day camp experience. And I know they would probably welcome some like quiet sit down content at some point in the day. And that would actually maybe provide you the opportunity to engage children anywhere from ages 5 to 14. So that's
awesome.
another opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah, all of that. I'm definitely could tailor it to any of those age groups. That would be fantastic.
And not to speak for them, I don't think I see anyone from Athens Land Trust here. I think there'd be some significant opportunity with their multiple different youth employment opportunities. And also I see the different connections with potentially a couple of others in the same realm, but that'd be the first one I think of in that age range that's already working with folks who are definitely working.
Yeah, awesome, for sure.
You could also reach out to Lydia's Place. They're working with former foster care or homeless young adults as well. And they have two like housing locations that you'd have maybe 8 or 10 young adults ready at a given time.
All right, perfect.
So I think you guys have a really solid working list. If you need any support in connecting to specific individuals, just let us know and we'll be happy to do that.
Thank you all so much. That's wonderful.
Awesome. The other Erin Podvin.
Hi, everyone. Erin Thompson-Podvin here with Clark County Schools. Just a few updates. Some of you are very much aware, and if that we returned to 5 days face-to-face last week on the return from spring break. I see some happy dancing going on. I think anybody here who is a parent or caregiver of a child can certainly appreciate that it's been a minute since we've had that happening. So that was a transition last week. And this week, just be thinking about our teachers and our students because milestones testing is kicked off. It's over the next couple of weeks for certain grades. So keep folks in mind with that. If you are an acquaintance, family member, friend of an educator who's involved or a child who's involved, think about them, make sure they get their healthy breakfast and their shut-eye, both whether they're taking the exam or proctoring it. So that's a big thing, couple things going on in real time. Summer school, looking toward the summer, we will have summer school this summer. It is going to be taking place during June. I think the last week might run into that last week that is June/July, but that'll be during June. And schools are from school to school. I think content will vary a little bit. So be paying attention for schools that you may work with, schools where you may affiliate with children about what that's going to look like. I know that we are offering both an opportunity for students who have experienced some slide, as well as some opportunities for enrichment, and further academic engagement. So, but that is sort of being led by the individual schools as far as that. Also wanted to let people know, and after I speak, I will drop some info in the chat, but the Foundation for Excellence in Public Education, and there's at least one board member sitting on the call right now, that they are currently accepting nominations for their awards, for their odd year awards. They have certain awards during odd years. Josh, I hope I'm not stealing your thunder if you were going to share about this. But we're just trying to let people know that's open until Friday, May 7th, and there's both odd year awards and annual awards. So we can drop some information in the chat if you can think of some deserving people that would, some folks who would be deserving of those awards, to please consider to nominate them. And let's see, LSGT elections are in full swing. right now. That being said, we still have need on several LSGTs. If you are on this call and think that that is something that you would be interested in, or can think of someone that you might think would be interested, there are several current and former LSGT members on this call. If you do not know what I mean by LSGT, sorry for the acronym, that is Local School Governance Team. And each of our schools in the district has a local school governance team. It is a group of parents / guardians, community members, teachers and staff members, sometimes some at-large community members that work together alongside the principal, who serves as one of the 2 co-chairs of each school for some guidance. Thanks, Josh. Josh already beat me to the punch. That's fantastic. See, that's why we work well together. We should get married. So we work with the schools on local school governance, and they do a decision making and you know, sharing input and ideas about the things happening in their schools. So we do need several community members, and we also need, we do need some parents and guardians as well at schools. So if it's something you think you might be interested in, if it's something that you know someone that's interested in, please do reach out to me, and I'll drop my email in the chat, because while we are running elections currently, we are still actively working to fill vacant seats. Those seats will sit starting July 1, but we have a new member orientation coming up at the end of the month. Last but not least, a big shout out, because our pal Leslie from BFK is here. I no longer have any fingerprints because I was counting and loading and stacking and restacking close to 20,000 boxes of Girl Scout cookies. We received an amazing, wonderful, you never know what you're gonna get when you answer a text, donation from Books for Keeps through First Book. So First Book through Books for Keeps. And we're being able to show appreciation for our teachers and staff across the district. Leslie, I have some photos for you as promised, and video of cookies. I have a couple boxes across the room, otherwise I'd show y'all. So yeah, we are getting to share that sweet love, literally, with our teachers and staff across the district, thanks to our community partners at Books for Keeps and the folks at First Book. So thanks for thinking of us in that opportunity. And y'all, there's some more cookies there. I mean, they may be spoken for, but. And that's everything I have, other than, yeah, thanks, Leslie. We appreciate it.
I do not ask for the cookies. The cookies just find us. I don't know how
Yes.
these things happen when you run a literacy nonprofit, but somebody emails you and says, we have up to 100,000 boxes of Girl Scout cookies. Do you want at least a significant portion of them? So we appreciate the school district taking them. We do still have 3 pallets at this point. 1 pallet is spoken for by our partners at the Elbert County School District. It looks like the majority of what we have left, and that's still about 2,000 boxes of books that we have left. The majority of what we have left is going to be Do-si-dos, which do have peanut butter in them. That's probably why they're left. But if there are folks on this call who want to get in on that cookie action, we can definitely help provide some to you. Priority is for folks who can pick them up from our warehouse, because we don't have a lot of ability to transport, but we're more than happy to make them available to folks from our warehouse. And you're welcome to send folks in my direction too, if you think that there might be a good fit. On Saturday, the Athens Alliance Coalition, Charles Hardy, picked up about a pallet's worth and distributed those to the community. So that was fun. Really, we are a book nonprofit. So I'm the director of Books for Keeps. We're not changing our name to Cookies for Keeps. We are still primarily focused on books. And this time of year is always our busiest time of year, normal year or not. We would be in the schools physically creating free book fairs for students to choose their books, but knowing that it was still not going to be a normal year heading into the spring, we made plans for being able to serve students through a virtual distribution. And so students in Clark County completed ordering their books from us at the beginning of prior to spring break. And we have been going great guns in our warehouse basically since the beginning of March, actually packing student orders of books. So truly, they went onto a website, they placed orders of books, and we have been working with volunteers to fulfill them. We've turned our warehouse into a mini Amazon, and we're fulfilling those orders and delivering them to the schools so that the teachers can actually open up the boxes, pull each order for their students, put them in bags, and they're going home in students' hands. Part of why I'm sharing this is that we do very much need volunteers to help us pull this off. We're on a fairly good pace, but we're having to pick up the pace, add more shifts in our warehouse just to be able to get everything packaged and delivered to the schools for distribution to the students before the end of the school year. So I'm gonna pop that link into the chat. We have all of our shifts live through the end of the school year and a little bit beyond that, because we'll need to get back into the warehouse and actually package the leftovers back up for 2022 distribution. So please share that information far and wide, because we're about to be under the gun getting all those books packaged up and delivered to students. And then just in terms of other developments for us and what we'll be focused on this summer, we have the grant funding to acquire Bookmobile, and we are really, really excited about that. We are going to be actually purchasing the vehicle this summer, possibly sooner, and retrofitting a vehicle to be able to start rolling into the community. We hope as early as the fall to actually provide books to people in the community where they live, work, and play, as well as providing more literacy programming directly to families, providing the skills building, the support, the tools with sort of an asset-based approach, so that they can make sure that literacy is one of the strategies that they're using at home just to enrich their children's lives, their academic lives, their parenting, because anybody who has young children or has gone through that phase of having young children, you know that having books and story time and using that bedtime routine truly is a matter of building solid parenting and connection with your kids. So we're really excited to be doing more of that work. And to answer Tony's question, so the end of the Clark County School District year, the last day is the 20th, but our goal is really to make sure that we have all of those books delivered no later than the second to last week of school, because we have to give our school partners the time to actually split everything up and get them into the students' hands, especially knowing that some students just kind of fall off during that last week of the school year. Some children leave early for vacations with their families. So really we're looking at like the 14th, May 14th, to get the books delivered to the schools, which means that we're trying to get everything packaged in the warehouse by the 10th at the absolute latest, May 10th, to get into students' hands. So if there are any other questions about that, I'm more than happy to answer in the chat, or please reach out to me directly. We also, if anybody has a group that they want to bring to volunteer as a group, a group of 10 people, whether it's a business or a civic group or a student group, we can set up the volunteer shifts for that. Just because there aren't 10 spots available in a specific shift on a day that you're looking at doesn't mean that we can't set up something custom for a group if there is one that wants to come volunteer together. So thank you all so much.
Thanks, Leslie. Any other updates? I'm looking at Josh, Mark, Jocelyn. Josh.
I will, and yes, I am married to Erin Thompson Podvin. I appreciate you clarifying that, Erin. Good context for everybody. I will say just regarding the Foundation for Excellence in Public Education, the awards nominations, is that there are awards there for teachers, for administrators, and for district services individuals. So take a look at the awards descriptions, but the nomination process is very simple and straightforward. So that will sort of start the process of that individual then being able to put an application in. So a bus driver or, somebody like a school nurse, there are plenty of folks that are eligible for awards, and I'd encourage you to nominate folks. And then really quickly from our office, we have taken, as I think I've said before, our Experience UGA program, which is traditionally an in-person field trip program. and we have made it a virtual engagement program, ages pre-K to 8th grade. We have virtual content at every grade, and most of it has been uploaded to these virtual classrooms. I'll put the link in the chat. Feel free to share it. There are great resources for all ages. Academic, it's tied to learning standards, but I think a lot of it is fun. So there's like 40 read alouds at the kindergarten level of children's books and a bunch of other things that you can tag into from like things related to health or gardening or things that UGA students and other departments have pulled together. So feel free to check it out and then pass that content along. We are looking at some 9th grade to 12th grade college and career readiness content that we'll push out as well in the future. But that's still a work in progress. Thanks.
Thanks. Jocelyn.
While this is not educationally, we all know that stable and secure housing affects someone's ability to learn. So a housing choice voucher waitlist becomes open April 22nd through the 26th. That is formerly known as Section 8 housing. The waiting list has been closed since May 2018. We in the housing world call it the golden ticket because that is the highest level of housing intervention, and that essentially gives families the ability to rent from private landlords and have their rent at fair market rent and only pay a percentage of their income. So this is a huge deal for our families in the state of Georgia. Once you're given a voucher, you can move across the country. It's not just Georgia, but they do the wait list per state. I'll send that link to John so he can send that out, and it's only open for 5 days. And again, that's just to get on the wait list. Once their wait list has been updated, they will be contacted by DCA, which means Department of Community Affairs, which runs the program.
Very relevant. Thank you. We have time for maybe 1 or 2 more updates before going to Lawrence and discussing some transition opportunities. Mark, anything?
Yes. Hey, y'all, Mark from United Way once again. Many of you probably already know, but just to make sure everybody is fully aware, we have our grant applications for 2022. We'll go live May 1st, and there are trainings for anyone who wants to learn more about how to apply, what applying looks like, what the literal application looks like, that we'll be doing. We'll have 3 different ones across this week and next week. So I'm posting that in the chat now, link to register. First one's on Wednesday. There's another one this Friday. There's another one next week. They're all virtual, and one of them, I don't know which one we're going to pick to record and post, but one of them will be also taken and then uploaded to YouTube to be viewed at any time. So those are all available for anybody who's interested in applying. You can also call me, ask any questions you have. I'll put my email down there as well.
Thanks, Mark. Last call. Any other updates?
Can I just say real quickly, and I'll put these in the chat box, but AthFest Educates has grants for music programs for elementary, middle, and high school. And they're having some workshops. I'll put the schedule in the chat box with a link to register. And then one book, Athens Community Book Read of Stamped Racism, Anti-Racism in You. And there's a very intentional effort to have middle school and high school, as well as every age up, post-centennial, participate in that. And there are free books available through the library and other sites for those who need that.
Great. Thanks, Tim. All right. Lawrence, are you ready to share an update on Mobile Minds?
I am. So thank you, Aaron. Do you want me to start with Mobile Minds, or did you want to talk about the transition and all that, or just Mobile Minds?
You know what? That's a good point. Let me go ahead. I'll tee that up, Lawrence. That's actually a good point, especially since we don't have tons of time left. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Can you confirm that you can see this? Yes. Okay, great.
Yes.
So you guys will remember, I'm going to stop that just for a second so you can see what our priority action has been for quite some time. I just dropped that in the chat box. And those of you who have been with us since the very beginning in 2018 will remember that we actually started with a more narrowly defined priority action. And because so many of you wonderful people showed up and across the spectrum, the Educate Athens group spanned not only people who are interested in workforce development for students grades 7 through 12, but also there was a substantial interest in the things that contribute to workforce development, which are clearly literacy and numeracy and earlier grades. So because all of these wonderful people showed up, we landed on a plan of work that was, the good news, very inclusive of all sorts of people and success measures. Where it became challenging, especially in the midst of a lot of transition and then COVID, is that it incorporated success measures that were really all over the map, some very focused on early childhood education, others completely focused on opportunities more related to high school. So Lawrence and I convened and also had conversations with Aaron Thompson-Podvin, and then connected with Mr. Brandon Gaskins, who is in a key position related to this because of his role with curriculum, to ensure that the pathway of this group is as strategic and effective as it could be for our partnership. And in doing that, I'm going to pull up my screen again. We return to our earlier priority action, which you can see is focused on educating, training, and developing young people to graduate from high school prepared to enter the local workforce and be successful. The other variable that has shifted between this point last year and the current moment is there have been amazing partnerships built through Educate Athens and otherwise that have really gained traction to specifically address early childhood literacy and access. And so I'm going to stop there and welcome Lawrence just to update us on Mobile Minds, and then talk through what is next for this group with your agreement.
Thanks, Aaron. And by far, definitely don't think this is a Lawrence decision. So I would say, like, I'm going to say what direction we're moving in. But as Aaron said, we did have a chance to meet herself, myself, and then Brandon Gaskins, who's our Chief Academic Officer. And I'm sorry, I didn't introduce myself. Lawrence Harris, Chief of Community Engagement and Strategic Partnerships. And as we reviewed the action plan or the work plan, and we talked through what are some of the things that are naturally occurring within our district because of the responsibilities that are held for those assigned staff and personnel, and what are the ways that we could truly leverage the network and the systems that Envision Athens is building. We really looked at kind of returning back to the initial or the original success measures as Aaron just put on the screen. And so I'm just going to talk a bit about some of the collaboratives that have developed from this work group, one of which is Mobile Minds, as you've probably heard me and Aaron kind of tossing back and forth. So Mobile Minds being an initiative that we are now partnered with Books for Keeps, United Way of Northeast Georgia, Downtown Academy, the Athens Area Chamber of Commerce, and Envision Athens. This is similar to actually what Leslie was talking about earlier, though a separate initiative. We are looking to launch 2 literacy related buses this fall. The fleet is called Mobile Minds, but each bus would have its own name. I think we said like ABC, so Ace Buzz, and I can't remember the C name right now. And so we'll be partnering with organizations later in this year. We'll be looking to partner with other organizations who have resources that you would like to be shared with parents in the community. Our work group is still meeting, so I cannot share the details just because we haven't yet developed the details around schedule. We're still discussing what our next steps will be about as far as management of the bus, but we do have a steering committee developed, who are those members that I just listed. And what we're looking to do is we have about 8 goals that we've listed, mainly, of course, increasing access to literacy. But one of the big ones is making reading fun, helping to engage families around reading, providing resources and tools where students can register for different programs, recognizing that there is an internet gap for many of our families that we serve. So this bus won't have everything, obviously, just a bus, but it will have a lot of resources and tools that our families and students need to be successful. And so I'm really appreciative of the partners on the call. Where this group comes in, and what I was telling Aaron is we aren't quite yet in the space. Oh, and the University of Georgia Office of Service Learning. Sorry, Josh, I see you, man. You're right there. Fist bump. So we, where we are in the process is we are still building up the management side of like what the bus will look like when it launches, but we'd like to lean heavily on members of this group who are engaged in different programs. I've heard a lot of updates since I've been on around the many different things you're trying to do, but also ways you're trying to reach students in creative ways. And this, our Mobile Minds fleet could be a way to get resources, information, and tools out to the communities, because it will effectively park at many of the different neighborhoods across Athens. So our goal will be every day of the week, the bus is somewhere in some neighborhood with a group of students and families. So I think, to Aaron's point, this group, because of that, the meetings we've had, we were able to really tie together several key partners to get this off the ground. Another initiative that's underway, and I guess I could have shared this on an update side, is our summer construction program. So Governor Kemp allotted $3 million to train high school students in the construction trades. And so we, Clark County School District, became one of the 8 districts who signed up to participate in that initiative. And effectively this summer we'll be training 25 high school students who are 18 years or older in the construction trades. And so it's a 6-week training program. They'll leave with 8 certifications, and they're all guaranteed a job making no less than $16 an hour. That's part of the agreement with the governor's office. And so we see it as a wonderful opportunity. The reason I bring that up is because these students will actually be building the bookshelves for the Mobile Minds bus that we're looking to launch. And so traditionally they would build tiny houses or picnic tables, but we felt like because of the timing, it actually is a great way to use our students' resources and their skills that they've learned to provide the furniture for those buses. And Aaron, I do want to share a quick update because I didn't get to say it earlier. If you know of anybody who's interested in who's looking for employment, we have a very, very, very high need for bus drivers, for substitute teachers, and for school nutrition staff. So if you know of individuals who are interested in that, please encourage them to go on our website and apply for those positions. We've been in conversations with some of our surrounding districts around just how they are also in need. It's just, it's a national problem, but we're trying to do our best to find individuals who are interested in those jobs. If you do want to become a bus driver, we actually provide the training for your CDL license. We do all of that. We actually pay for the license up front. So I did want to make sure I put that out there as well. So, Aaron, I'm not sure if there's any more other information I needed to share beyond that. So please let me know if I forgot something.
That's great. Thank you. Yeah, so I just wanted to open this up to the group. I know we have only about 6 minutes left, but rather than, I don't want to come across as conveying a decision. Rather, I want to open up a discussion, acknowledging that all of the things we just discussed, so early childhood education access, literacy and numeracy for children K through 3rd grade, workforce development opportunities for students 7th through 12th grade, each of those things is vitally important to this continuum of preparedness. I think where we have a challenge as a very robust community of a lot of people with a lot of interests is making strategic decisions about which group of people can best impact which area. And I think the Educate Athens variation of people at this moment kind of brought our attention to, if we have Mobile Minds taking this step and making these moves, addressing that early literacy component. And then we have this other kind of subgroup focused on workforce development for students grades 7th through 12th. And then we also have, Tim, not to put you on the spot, but you have been gracious to share about the strategic action team that you've been convening focused on early childhood. Would it make sense at this point for the Mobile Minds group to kind of continue on their route, since that has already gained traction? The SAT for early childhood education is ongoing. And then for a subset of this group to focus specifically in on that 7th through 12th grade workforce preparedness, which is ironically what our original priority action is. And I don't think I wouldn't even say that we became too broad. I think the way this group evolved was exactly what needed to happen in our community at that time. I also think that now, as we have traction in other areas, it makes sense for Envision Athens, Educate, group to kind of focus in on what is not being addressed elsewhere. So essentially, if that's too many words and not succinct enough, the suggestion would be that Mobile Minds continues to meet separately and evolve from this. And then the next meeting of Educate Athens really be focusing and honing in on 7th through 12th grade workforce preparedness. So that would mean those of you who are already kind of engaging in Mobile Minds, you continue that work. We reconvene as necessary. But the Educate Athens group is really going to focus in on more of that externship theme, the panels, the apprenticeships and mentoring, things like that. So any thoughts or questions?
I have a question, Aaron. If I remember correctly, there was a social services group and their goal was adult workforce development, and then it merged into the Educate Athens group because at the time its initial goal was workforce development. So is there any thought about bringing back that adult workforce development group or having the social services group look at something else?
That's a great catch, Tim. You are absolutely right. And that group would need to come back together. There have not been sufficient gains made in that to move on to something else. We would need to specifically address that. And I've already started some initial conversations with David Bradley about that. That would definitely need to include you, Susan, Catherine, and any others. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a great move, Aaron. I'll say that for what it's worth.
I appreciate it. I know it, I mean, if nothing else, this past year has been incredibly overwhelming, and I'm really grateful that this group continued to convene and find space to update, and if nothing else, provide each other the support of connecting on a regular basis. What I want to be sure about is that this conversation doesn't feel like anyone rushed to a decision. I also want to ensure none of you feel like, well, I was part of this group based on this interest, and now I don't know where I belong in terms of connecting on the educational interests that most relate to me. So if you have any questions about, where you belong next or where to go next, please let us know. But in short, if you're interested in early childhood education support, I think the SAT that Tim Johnson convenes is probably a good place to connect to that interest. If you're interested in the Mobile Minds program, they are not quite ready to add new members to that group. That is still in the evolutionary phases, but they anticipate within the next several weeks, there will be opportunity to kind of coalesce and come alongside that work. And then if you are passionate about either personally and or professionally working specifically with those older grades and helping prepare and train them for optimum economic mobility, then this will continue to be that space for conversation. So if you would, I know a couple people have had to drop off, but I say this so clearly, maybe erring on the side of repetition, because I don't want you to feel pressured to be a part of any specific conversation. If you do want to join the Educate Athens with that focus of 7th through 12th grade workforce development, please let us know either in the chat box or by emailing me. And then if you don't know where to go next, also let us know that, and we're happy to connect you. Once we know who is in kind of this newly formed version of Educate Athens, we will work to reschedule our next meeting with that group, with the possibility of that happening kind of around the same time and day, which would probably be around May 17th. So that's a lot, and it's not my favorite to have conversations like this virtually, but that's where we're at. So any questions or thoughts before we sign off for the day? Okay, great. I'm seeing some activity in the chat box. And Tim, just feel free to let the group know when the next SAT meeting is scheduled. No pressure on that. I just wanted to give folks a sense of what the community landscape is for folks.
Will do. Thank you.
Great. And thanks, Dr. Watley, for that update. We heard from Dr. Thomas this morning on the community update about the CCSD vaccine drive. So lots of progress in that area. Okay. All right. Guys, you know where to find me. Thank you so much for your activity and all the traction you've made outside this group. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Take care.